Happy New Year, and may it be so. Know that you are welcome here, whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your race, age, gender, class, or ability, you are welcome here. Whether you got here on foot, by car, on a bicycle or a motorcycle, or by way of cyberspace, we're glad to have you. I'm Vanessa Cowie, and I'm the worship associate for this morning at the Unitarian Universalists of Transylvania County, where our mission is to support individual spiritual journeys and to promote social, economic, and environmental justice. To ensure that we gather here safely, please wear a mask while you're in the building, unless you're speaking from the pulpit. Use the clipboards provided to sign in case we need to contact Trace. After this service, please exit the building quickly to allow for full air exchange between services. And if you are moved to sing with the music, at least keep it quiet and soft behind your mask, because we do have evidence that singing, as compared to simple talking, spreads airborne viruses more readily. If there's a deep joy or concern in your heart today that you would like to share, please ask one of the ushers to bring you a piece of paper, regular paper, to write that on so that Reverend Bob can incorporate it later into the service. And just a housekeeping announcement: due to the rise in COVID cases, there's consideration of reducing office hours here at the church in the next few days. So you may want to make a call before you make a stop at the church. Reverend Bob is available by phone for ministerial services and porch visits. So he remains available whether the office is open or not. Martha Kirby Capo, a poet and lyricist on the staff of the Unitarian Universalist Association, reminds us, "We who are here assembled have made a conscious choice. We live intentionally. May we keenly attend to the silent, pulsing needs here present at this altar, made sacred by the power of our communion." We move more deeply into our worship service with the lighting of our chalice with words from Katie Gelfand. She's Director of Religious Education at the First UU Church of New Orleans. We've heard her words here before. These are a chalice lighting. She says, "We call forth the life of our faith by igniting our chalice." So I'm going to light it and then continue with what she had to say. This spark of new beginnings invites us into a sacred space to reflect on where we have been and where we are going. Even knowing that this particular flame will intentionally end with our ritual extinguishing, we fear not its end, for we know with brave hearts that from every ending of our lives, we are sent forth to make a new beginning. Our first hymn today is number 350, "The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time."
The ceaseless flow of endless time, no one can check or stay. We'll view the past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The present slips into the past, and dreamlike melts away. The breaking of tomorrow's dawn begins anew today. The past and future ever meet in the eternal now, to make each day a thing complete shall be a New Year's vow.
As we do each week, we now pause to honor milestones of joy, of sorrow, and of concern, and to lift up those who need our healing thoughts. If you have a deep joy or concern that you wish to share, please so indicate to an usher. And an usher will bring it forward to share in the pastoral prayer from Reverend Bob. If you are listening to our live stream this morning, please share your joys and concerns in the chat, and we'll light a candle for them. This first candle is for the gift of a new year. Happy 2022, and may that be so. We light a candle for those workers on the front lines during this pandemic, sanitation workers, delivery workers, janitors and teachers, taxi drivers, food servers, and most especially healthcare workers who have risked their lives and continue to do so time and again over the past 2 years. We honor them. We light a candle for those less fortunate around the world and hope that they will be lifted up out of violence, poverty, and discrimination. We light a candle for the people who were turned out of their homes this morning, this new year, due to fire and disaster. We light a candle for the gift of being able to begin again, to turn a new leaf, to start afresh. We are able, as our hymn says, to return again, return again, return to the home of our soul. We light a candle for the milestones shared in the online chat. And we light a candle for the joys and concerns that remain unvoiced at this time. And our final candle is lit to wish everybody a safe and happy New Year. Let us pause for a moment of silence to reflect on the joys and sorrows we have just heard and all those we carry in our hearts.
Continuing in this spirit of prayer, spirit of love and life, may we find that 2022 brings us the realization of our hopes and our dreams in ways that we have not yet achieved. May we know that every time we find a fresh start, we are empowered once again to overcome the foibles of our past, the mistakes that we have done, and may we be brave enough to say, "I'm sorry," or "thank you" to those around us. For in this new year, in this new life, day after day, we are granted something very special. Spirit of love and life, let us remember how special it is every moment that we have. We realize as we come to the ceremony of today that we need to let go. We need to leave behind. Spirit of love and life, may we find the love and comfort in all that is holy, that this may be possible for us. We also recognize that life and cycles of life go on. We pray with joy for those who have been able to see relatives over this holiday in a way not possible in the previous year. We are with concern for those whose facilities or households are dealing with lockdowns or quarantine. We also reach out to the family of Bob Parcell who died this past week and wish them strength and grace. For grief visits us, no matter what our calendar tells us. Our lives and its cycles go on. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say, Amen. Blessed be. We have the opportunity each week to enjoy the discipline of passing a basket and giving, or clicking online to give. This congregation enjoys the support of all of its members, friends, and visitors. And this month, we also have the special collection for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, an organization that started back in the time in which World War II was gearing up as a way of helping refugees coming to safety, refugees finding supplies from those Unitarian Universalists who gave from this country overseas. The Unitarian Universalist Service Committee is a worthwhile organization with a very high rating. I know because my mom was one of the people who helped in her local congregation make sure that it was lifted up. I know because I remember all those times in the past when there were little boxes, guest at your table, in which all the coins would be put in by the children around the table until that would be brought in and counted and deposited and sent off. Now, I suggest you write a check or push a click button and pull down menu for the special collection, or mark on an envelope that today's gift is for UUSC. If you do not have something today, this whole month is for that. Thank you for indulging me in lifting up this particular worldwide Unitarian Universalist charity. We will now receive the morning offering. What is given in love is received with great joy, and we say thank you. Each new year, I enjoy sharing this responsive reading with congregations, and we didn't get really a New Year's celebration last year, although I appreciate Bob Bennett was in the building by himself with Frank, I guess, running the camera, right, able to do the burning ceremony part of it, but we were all at home. I find it so wonderful to be back and doing a responsive reading in the building on New Year's. This is responsive reading number 544 by Kathleen McTeague in our hymn book. The words are on the screen. I will do white lettering if you will do the red lettering. 1st of January is another day dawning. The sun rising as the sun always rises, the earth moving in rhythms. So it is. Everything is the same, bound into its history as we ourselves are bound. What shall we do with this great gift of time, this year? We are the hearts and minds, the hands and the feet, the embodiment of all the best visions of our people. Let us take the step forward together into new ground. Thank you. Instead of a usual long sermon, instead of waving the children off into their classes, this Sunday we are all gathered here. I will take this so it's not in the way. And we will be spending time writing on our little slips of paper. Did somebody not get one of the magic slips of paper? Each person in here may have a slip of paper. Even if you have 10 pages of paper worth of that you want to give away in the old year, write down cryptically in code or in sentences what it is you are leaving behind in the old year so that you can start fresh. We'll have the ushers come by at the end of my brief message so that we can do the ceremony and place the slips in there. If you don't have a pen, there is one on the clipboard in your row. You can use that. It's really nice to get to a year in which we're not waiting for certain things. Do you remember a year ago right now, we were waiting for Congress to validate the election. We were waiting for Inauguration Day. We were, most of us, waiting for vaccines to arrive anywhere near Transylvania County, Greenville, South Carolina, Asheville, wherever it was that we were going to go, starting with the most vulnerable age group. We were waiting for so much at this time last year. And yet, we shouldn't just spend our time anticipating the future. As much as we need to think of what we're leaving behind, we need to be in the moment. Donald Frazier had this "life is now" quote. It was found on page 308 of a Unitarian and Universalist 1960 ministers' compilation of things to share. 2022 to 1960. Wow. But it's wise. Life is found in living. Life is now. Find life in living. Find it now. No use to try and hoard our yesterdays. As for tomorrows, who can count on them? Oh, not the log. The growing tree is life. And yet the burning log, till it's an ember, the burning log till it's an ember, blazing itself into nothingness, is live. I saw such a happy dancing, bubbling stream, such lively loveliness, such beauty I must keep. But in the pail I used to scoop, the stagnant water sits and smells. I felt the breeze so cool upon my cheek, so bracing, teasing, as it ruffled my hair. And so determined was I not to lose it. I now captured it and can show you a bag of stagnant air. I saw a glistening, shimmering sunbeam, splashing its colored patterns on a jar. Oh, stupid thought, and close it with the curtain and then sit and wonder where the sunbeams are. For life is in the living. Life is now. I think one of the best things we do of being in our communities, our human communities, is helping one another. Both with compassion and in the way in which we can transform one another by our very presence. Wintertime sometimes leads us into even greater isolation. My sorrow to those at College Walk who have all your activities canceled and no visitors and all of that. But we have phones and FaceTime and the ability to sneak away and come to church. We have, each of us, ways of being able to connect safely with one another or ask for a porch visit from your minister and feel that we can be spiritually transformed by being with one another. In a way, the reading says we can't capture the gurgling stream without it going stale. We can't capture the sunbeams with a curtain. We have the now. We have our living, breathing community right now. And the living, beautiful community we're in had folks pass away, had people confront sorrow. It's a new year, Howard Thurman said, but for many, it may mark the end of relationships of many years' accumulation. It may mean the first encounter with a stark tragedy or radical illness, or the first quaffing of the cup of bitterness. It may mean the great discovery of riches of another human heart and the revelation of the secret beauty of one's own. It may mean the beginning of a new kind of living because of marriage, of graduation, or of one's new job. Howard Thurman goes on to say, it may mean an encounter with God in the lonely road or the hearing of one's name called by God, high above the noise and din of the surrounding traffic. And when the call is answered, the life becomes invaded by smiling energies never before released, felt, or experienced. I can taste that. The ceremony we are about to begin reminds us that we are at a new beginning and at an end. I am going to ask you if you can, in fact, stay 6 feet apart, to come forward and leave your slips of paper here. If for mobility reasons or your sense of safety, you'd rather stay exactly where you are, an usher will help bring what you want placed in here. And while that's happening, I will read a closing reading of the message that I have that will help us understand the impact. From Little Gidding by T.S. Eliot, what we call the beginning is often the end. And to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. We shall not cease from exploration, and at the end of all of our exploring, we'll be arriving where we started and know the place for the first time. And all shall be well when the tongues of flame are enfolded into the crown knot of fire, and the fire and the rose are one. I will now do the magic, but I warn you, for those of you who are hoping that 2021 goes out in a flash, this is the old paper we had from a year ago. Just as we have shortages of resources on the shelves all around us, just as we deal with, is it still dragging on with COVID-19? This paper will go, but it's not going the way we want it to go. Even my magic can't make that happen. Are you watching? Do we have a good camera angle? Done. Gone. Not one ash or any evidence. Voila. Goodbye, 2021. And welcome, 2022, and the beauty of being able to be together in all these new days. Thank you. I invite you to hum or mumble very softly hymn number 57, All Beautiful, the March of Days. All beautiful the march of days as seasons come and go. The hand that shaped the rose hath wrought the crystal of the snow, has sent the hoary frost of heaven, the flowing waters sealed, and laid a silent loveliness on hill and wood and field. O'er white expanses sparkling clear, the radiant morns unfold. The solemn splendors of the night burn brighter through the cold. Life mounts in every throbbing vein, love deepens round the hearth, and clearer sounds the angel hymn, goodwill to all on earth. O thou from whose unfathomed law the year in beauty flows, thy myself the vision passing by in crystal and in rose. Day unto day doth utter speech, and night to night proclaim. In ever-changing words of light, the wonder of thy name. As I extinguish our chalice, I read the closing words from my colleague, the Reverend Sam Trumbore. Whether one's personal possibilities are expanding or contracting, the planetary consciousness vibrates with growth and development. The interconnections between everyone increase exponentially, along with what Google knows about everything. Ecological stresses and resource depletion loom ahead like a brick wall before a runaway train. No matter what happens to us in this coming year, we will be changed. May that change move each of us toward compassion and away from hate, towards justice and away from oppression, towards the good, the beautiful, and the true. In the spirit of hopeful anticipation, let us join together in the celebration of life. Blessings to all of you as you go out and return again with love.